Today, we're learning the origin. No, not Captain Hook. The Dragon family. It all started in the year 13,000. Same year where Jim is born. Jim, the Komodo dragon, had a father named Thunderous and a mother named Komodo, and he was the only child of the family. But unfortunately, 3 months before he hatched, an evil pirate named Captain Hook came to Dragon Village. And here's Hook right now. Yarr! Alright, boys! We're about to take it to Dragon Island. Remember, exterminate every dragon. What about the eggs? Don't worry, just bring the I don't know what to do with the eggs. Boss, as soon as we don't know what to do with the eggs, yes, I don't know what to do with the eggs. Eggs? I don't know what to do with them. Okay, Hook? Dang, you don't have to yell, you know. Do you want the blue box when we get back to the ship? No. Yeah, so I thought. Remember, mateys, if you disobey me and lie or do bad, you go in the blue box. That's right, viewers. Captain Hook has a blue box filled with scorpions, and you only go in there if you lie to Hook or disobey orders or did not understand it. Now here comes the attack. Alright! Charge, dragon! To the dragons! Yeah! What, you all hear that? Yeah! What's going on? Pirates! What are they doing here? They haven't been around since centuries. Alright, boys, let's get the dragon. Alright, boys, search for the egg. Okay? Search for the egg. Komodo, you get the egg out of here. I'll hold off the pirates. Alright. You see this barn they're in? This is the barn Jim was born, because Bank City was not Jim's home during that time. Because Bank City wasn't Jim's home during that time. He told him to hold him off while to get the kid out of here while he holds off the dragon killers. Alright, ladies. Hey, what are you doing? You dare try to guess? You see, shortly after killing the dragon, Hook died, and somehow Diego the Overlord brought him back to life. But we'll get to that in the next video, by the way. It won't be in this video, but we'll learn more about how about Captain Hook getting brought back to life. I'll tell you all right now. He was unfortunately brought back to life by Diego the Overlord and Jade, the Queen of Darkness. But we'll get to that in the next video. It's okay, Jim. You're gonna be okay. Jim, do me a big favor one day. He said, be strong. And I got your father's sword. He wants you to. Alright? Don't worry, we'll catch you up. Be safe, Jim. Be strong. What's going on? Okay? We'll keep you hidden. We'll be back soon. Soon, Jim. There we go. I need to go help Thunderous. Oh! Oh no, Thunderous! Oh god! What the? Oh no! Not the pirates. It's okay, my thunder. Man, I'm coming to help you. I'm on my way. Hey. Wait, no. Show! Hook, I thought I stabbed you. Nice try. I'm now a god. The dragon. Show! Thunderous! Oh. I'm coming. Oh god. Ugh. Get the female. Oh no. Oh no. Thunderous! No! Oh god, the pirates! Oh, no. Not my Thunderous. Please. You cannot be dead. You can't be dead. Ed, we need to get out of here immediately. Oh, no. Oh no, not the pirates, no. Hunters too. Sure. No. Wait, no. No. Screw it then. I'm not dealing with pirates. Oh god. Yeah! 3 months later, Jim was born. Yep, Jim was born. Jim is a baby. Yep. This is Jim when he was a baby. He explored this apartment, which later becomes his home. Yep. Yep. Which he later takes as his home of the dragons. And he says, God, I don't remember what happened. Where's my mom and dad? Yep, he ended up saying his first word right after he was born. And while he left the building, Jim started shedding skin, which means he was growing up. And during that, he ends up meeting a young dragon by the dragon. No, he actually met. Oh wait, sorry. He ends up meeting a young tiger by the name of King Tigertooth, who's back then was Prince Sherman Tigertooth. In the Natural Godline Academy, he was taken in. And he ends up meeting his girlfriend, Mia, before they were married. And he ends up meeting a hairless gorilla by the name of Hulk. And he also ends up meeting Meowdus, Prince Tigertooth's brother. Yep. And then he ends up meeting a Phantom who was really mean to Jim. He was mean to Jim. Jim tried to be nice to Phantom, but Phantom was rude to him. And one time he went to his dad's house for dinner, whose name was Sharlock. And Sharlock knew Jim's father because they were best friends growing up. And he heard he died, and he wished he was there to help him. And he also Phantom ends up attempting to murder Jim, thinking he's the reason he's being replaced, even though he wasn't. Jim later learns how to fly because he had wings on his back. At first, he kind of sucked. He's like, no, stop it up! Now you see, Shylock Tiger Tooth taught Jim how to fly, even though he wasn't a dragon. And he ends up learning how to fly. And he learned he had laser vision. So he tried out his laser vision until one day Phantom attacked him by sending hunters after him. During that time, he found out Phantom was trying to kill him. And right when Phantom was about to murder Jim, the Tiger Tooth brothers walked in, along with Mia. Those three end up beating up Phantom, and as punishment, his father, Shylock, ends up banishing him from Cat City forever. And then he later attempts to try and kill Jim again, but this time almost succeeds. And as punishment, he was banished into the void. He ends up getting banished into the void. Until one day, Phantom returned to kill his brothers. Yep. But unfortunately, he was killed. He was unfortunately killed off. He was unfortunately killed off by King Tiger Tooth. He had no choice. And by the way, King Tiger Tooth actually regretted killing his brother, but they told him he didn't mean it. He had no choice in order for him to leave the world alone. Afterwards, Jim ends up meeting Sierra Scar and her ex-boyfriend Andy, who was unfortunately killed by Diego the Overlord. And he ends up meeting Sierra Scar during middle school years. Yep. And they became really good friends. And they called each other the Natural God Line to honor their school. And they had a teacher by the name of Dill Pickle, who was unfortunately a villain the whole time. Shortly after he was defeated by Jim, he was unfortunately killed by the Overlord. Years later, Jim ends up going to the same village he was born in. In the original Jim the Komodo Dragon movie, he ends up fighting Lord Colossals and his mysterious banana assistant, which I don't know what to call him. They don't know who that banana statue is, by the way. Hey, they don't know what he is, this banana statue is, by the way. And he also fought the nuclear walkers, who were created by Diego the Overlord and later become Nalo's henchmen. And he ends up fighting Captain Hook, which is the same Captain Hook that killed his parents. Yep. And he ends up fighting Lord Colossals for the first time in the original film. And as for the second film, he ends up fighting his minions, ends up throwing a nuclear bomb at him, which unfortunately made them stronger in the Natural Godline movie where he had to bring his friends to take them out. And unfortunately, during his first encounter with the Overlord, he ends up defeating him for the first time. Second time, in his nuclear walker form, but as the Alpha. And the second time is when he met his wife, the Night Rose, who was possessed at the time, who ends up possessing her at the time, making her do evil things. Because if you don't know, Rose is the daughter of the Red Death, which we later find out in the Natural Godline 5 Doomsday. And after that, he ends up meeting his long-lost cousin by the name of Godzilla, or Gajora. And he does have a love interest, as he saw my post, named Mothra, who will later be in the series, by the way. Grease. And he also ends up falling in love with Rose after freeing her. Shortly after, he ends up encountering during the leader of the hunters, by the name of Fletcher Kane, who was the leader of the hunters right after Dill Pickle's murder. After he defeats him, he ends up proposing to Rose, the Oni dragon. And they both go on their honeymoon for a short time. And unfortunately, earning the road trip, Rose informs Jim she's going to lay eggs. Which means Jim and Rose were about to become parents. And after that, they both end up having their first son by the name of Arthur the Oni Komodo dragon. And their second child was their first daughter named Chelsea the Oni dragon. The demon dragon, which she's been nicknamed. And they call her Chelsea the Oni dragon due to her resembling her mother. And for their third child is Jim's second son by the name of Jim Jr., who gets his name due to his resemblance of his father. And for Chelsea, she ends up getting her name Gabby due to her acting by Gabby from Toy Story 4. And she also has a resemblance of her mother and father. And shortly after, they both end up teaming up against aliens. And Jim, before that, ends up encountering a robot version of himself called the Jiminator. An evil robot who wants to destroy Jim so he can succeed. And before you ask, the person that built Jim will be revealed in the future. He'll be revealed sometime in the future. And he will be the villain in one of my films, by the way. Shortly after Jiminator was demolished, we end up encountering Galaxar. And before you ask, no, he's not the one who created Jiminator. because he does not have the right parts building him in his UFO. Oh. After Predator sacrificed himself, we find out Predator actually survived. And by the way, Jim's son Arthur ends up defeating him. He ends up defeating him by evolving, and he goes dragon mode on him, which was really epic. And as of today, yep. And after that, Jim ends up fighting an evil version of himself called the Red Death, who was a former ally of Jim's father, but betrayed him because he originally had a crush on Colombo. But unfortunately, Colombo was not interested of Red Death. He was only interested of Thunderous, which angered him, causing him to betray him and become evil. And after that, he ends up meeting Nalo, who later revealed to also be Lord Colossals, which he later gets blown up and shrunk and eaten by Jim as a tiny tomato. And Jim ends up fighting an evil emperor by the name of Emperor Doom, or Dr. Doom. And he also met a pumpkin by the name of Superhuman King. But you call him Superhuman. And he ends up teaming up. And fun fact, he fought Lord Colossals way before the Legacy movie, by the way. Moving on to the next chapter. Alright, here comes the next chapter. What was originally going to happen in the films. Fun fact number 1. Originally, in the original plan for the Jim Cinematic Universe, in the original plan for the first Jim the Komodo Dragon movie, Rose was going to be in that film. But unfortunately, due to the Night Rose not coming out till Chapter 6, Season 1, and me not having any girl skins that kind of look like dragons, I had to unfortunately scrap her because of it. And another fun fact is, remember how I said the blue box earlier? Well, guess what? It was originally going to be in the film, but unfortunately it was cut because it felt a little too violent for a film like mine. And I was worried I was going to get demonetized for YouTube. And here comes fact number 2. Originally, you all know Mechagodzilla was going to be in Jim X Godzilla Rise of the Machines. Well, unfortunately, he got cut because I'm worried that MonsterVerse will have me copyrighted for using a MonsterVerse villain inside a Jim Cinematic Universe film. So to avoid it, I had to unfortunately cut him. And B, I was worried people would not like him in a film like this. This. Alright, and one more fun fact. Originally, the original Jim the Komodo Dragon film was going to be a standalone film. It was originally going to be a standalone film where we never get sequels. But unfortunately, it got a little too popular, and I'm kind of worried people are going to comment on me saying, make us a sequel! And so, I had unfortunately made a sequel called Attack of the of the Walkers because I want to avoid people asking for a sequel. And fun fact, you all know the storm attack at the end of the original film? Well, guess what? I was originally going to put it in the film, but unfortunately I cut it because I was worried the sequel will flop if I do that. Except some sequels kind of do flop if the sequel begins right after the original ends. And plus, even though I'm that type of guy, I didn't want to do this one. Alright, now that's all the fun facts. Now let's move on to the next one. Original, here's a new something you should also know. Oh. We're about to come to the end of the biograph about me, about Jim the Komodo dragon, and the fun facts. So before I end this video, I want to address something. Alright, let me find me a seat right here. Alright, there we go. So here's things I want to address. And I bet you're wondering, when is the Jim the Komodo dragon, the movie remake, live action remake going to come out? It's going to come out soon, but not right now because I'm currently too busy with the other films and it's a little too hard. And I'm trying to find myself a Captain Hook action figure. And if you have a suggestion where to find a Captain Hook figure, oh, hold on, let me move real quick so this person won't shoot at me. Alright, now let's go to my OC's apartment. Okay, as I was saying earlier, when is the remake of the original film going to come out? Soon, once I get my figure of Captain Hook. Even though I made a Lego one didn't look a little too good. And I am going to find me a Captain Hook action figure. And once I do find one, I will get started on the remake. And when is it going to release? Probably on the anniversary of the original film. And I think I might make it at the same time it begun and ended. Maybe have the movie be a couple minutes longer than the original film. So yes, that's the thing. And my next Jim Cinematic Universe film is going to release before the remake, by the way. And the next film, but I know what I'm going to make, but I can't tell you guys because I don't want to spoil it. And this film has to do something with Godzilla, by the way. And now, my next GTA College Life episode is going to release probably till this weekend or next week, depending on the editing. So, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for now. If you liked today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to make this channel happy. Until then, I'll see you all in the next Jim Cinematic Universe film. Peace out.